welcome to Evening News. I'm Aminat Chiama. In tonight's top stories, Indian Air Force planes carrying water begin arriving in the Maldives while people continue to stand in long queues at various points in Malé city to collect free water distributed by the government. President Abdullah Yameen was to continue providing bottled drinking water to the residents of Malé until the ongoing water shortage crisis is resolved. And Economic Ministry threatens to take action against those who sell water at high prices during the ongoing water crisis in Malé. Indian Air Force planes carrying water begin arriving in Maldives while people continue to stand in long queues at various points in Malé city to collect free water distributed by the government. The first Indian plane landed at around 2 p.m. with 20 tons of water, while the second landed about 2 hours later with 28 tons of water. Government had said earlier today that Indian Air Force will be sending 5 planes carrying a total of 150 tons of water. Meanwhile, 2 Indian military vessels equipped with water treating facility are on their way and will arrive tonight according to reports. In addition, 2 Indian offshore patrol vessels are also on standby. In addition to India, Sri Lanka, China and the US have assured assistance to Maldives to solve the water shortage crisis in the capital. Water was cut off at around 3 p.m. yesterday after a fire incident at Maldives Water and Sewerage Company MWSC, and Malé city remains without water since then. During a press conference earlier today, Defence Minister Mohammed Nazim said that even if the crisis cannot be resolved completely at present, they have received the assurance that water will be supplied once every 6 hours. Meanwhile, MWSC says that even if the RO plants are fixed, it would take a couple of days to supply water as before. President Abdullah Yameen was to continue providing bottled drinking water to the residents of Malé until the ongoing water shortage crisis is resolved. A special message from the president, who is currently in Malaysia on an unofficial visit, was delivered at the president's office at around 4:15 today. Noting the efforts by the government's task force to solve the crisis, the president said that government will do everything possible to solve the crisis. He thanked the governments of India and Sri Lanka for the swift response for his call for help. Noting that the US and Chinese governments have also assured assistance to Maldives, he thanked the 2 governments as well. In his message, he said that the unity displayed by the people during this crisis reminded him of the 2004 December tsunami and the unity displayed by the people during that difficult time. He thanked the security forces, private organizations and businesses who are working day and night to provide water to the people, and thanked the people for their patience. The president urged residents of Malé to remain patient and cooperate with the government until the crisis is solved. Economic Ministry threatens to take action against those who sell water at high prices during the ongoing water crisis in Malé. Noting that it has been receiving complaints of businesses that are taking advantage of the water shortage crisis and hiking water prices, Economic Ministry has called on business to put an end to this immediately. While the ministry has urged businesses to practice equality and fairness in providing water to the people by taking it as an individual responsibility, it has also vowed to take harsh action against businesses that hike water prices. Since the water supply in Malé city was cut off following the fire incident at Maldives Water and Sewerage Company yesterday, some businesses have hiked water prices. 500 ml water bottles priced at 4 rupiah are now being sold between a price range of 5 to 8 rupiah. 1.5 litre bottles sold at 6 rupiah are now being sold between 8 to 15 rupiah, while 5 litre bottles are now being sold by some businesses between 20 to 30 rupiah. We'll take a short break and return in a few minutes.
Uridu internet adi data hidumettawge tereng taaraf korani mulinga package take. Uridu mini data packs. Diharufia heda kuravvagen gadiraka 30 MB. Vihirufia heda kuravvagen dualaka 7 MB. Adi 30 rufia heda kuravvagen haftayaka 7 MB. Activate kurevvuma *929 hash dial kuravva. Beenun taaku, beenun iraku, beenun waraka, neta vadedam.
And now we move on to our weekly editorial report.
Most of us had the notion that in this country, for the most part, basic services were being provided well. And while cable TV, latest mobile phones, bridges, products by world-renowned labels, and fast food chains like KFC, McDonald's and Burger King are considered as basic services for many residents in Male City, there will undoubtedly be people who consider Male City a place which is inferior or not good enough due to the absence of these services. And it would not be wrong to say that residents of some other islands in the country have begun to follow suit. Those who get adapted to Male City's life and grow up in the city and enter political arena sell their political beliefs to the people living in the islands in such a manner they are made to believe that development is what is seen in Male, and hence their beliefs are also falling in line with that of the beliefs of people living in developed countries. It would not be wrong to say that this belief was the biggest challenge faced by the three governments Maldives saw during the past 5 years. Despite popular belief that basic services were being provided well for Male City, today it has been proven wrong. Earlier, occasional blackouts in the city due to technical issues faced by the powerhouse were being severely criticized. When the city's water supply was cut off due to a fire incident at the water company, electricity being cut off for about half an hour no longer seems to be a big issue. The water shortage crisis in Male City has made it clear today that neither the authorities nor the people were aware of how dependent the huge population in Male was on MWSC, the sole provider of clean water to the city. While the city's groundwater is contaminated beyond use, residents who have been using water supplied by the company for years were so sure that they could live without depending on their city's groundwater. Buildings constructing in recent years were designed to depend only on water supplied by MWSC, while buildings which were designed previously to access well water and rainwater had also switched completely to MWSC supplied water without forecasting such a water shortage crisis. Although people paid no attention to the amount of MWSC supplied water that was flushed into the sea through their toilets, today most people living in the city have realized that every drop of water is a huge blessing and it should not be wasted. They have realized that uninterrupted provision of clean water is the most basic service and that it should not be wasted at any cost, while there are millions of people around the world without clean drinking water.
Health Protection Agency HPA urges Male residents to be cautious of health hazards while collecting and using rainwater. In a health alert issued today expressing distress over the water shortage crisis faced by Male following the fire incident at Maldives Water and Sewerage Company yesterday, HPA said that since the rainwater collected without cleaning the roofs would contain dust, waste and fecal matter of cats and other such animals, people should check the water properly before using it. HPA also urged people to ensure that the containers used to collect and store water are clean and remain closed. The health alert also warned that contaminated water could lead to diarrhea and other diseases and called on businesses that make and sell food items to be cautious of it. Vice President Dr. Mohamed Jamil Ahmed says that government is trying very hard to bring a swift solution to the water crisis in Male. In a tweet he sent out last night, Jamil said that government is trying very hard to solve the crisis at hand and that measures will be taken to ensure that such situations do not arise in future. He also urged the people to follow orders and advice for relevant authorities during such situations. Under government's efforts to solve the water crisis and provide water to residents of Male City, security forces are now carrying out a special operation to provide free water to the people. Meanwhile, government has urged people not to waste water even though water is being provided for free. With that, we conclude tonight's evening news. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night.
DhiTV. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كافها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا وإني خفت الموالي من ورائي وكانت امرأتي عاقرا فهب لي من لدنك وليا يرثني ويرث من آل يعقوب واجعله رب رضيا يا زكريا إنا نبشرك بغلام اسمه يحيى لم نجعل له من قبل سميا قال رب أنى يكون لي